Coach O.
Hold it down, kid.
Thank you, Coach O. Do you think that your coaching made a whole lot of influence on the team tonight against Mizzou?
Well, I tell you, Lance, sometimes you gotta put a little express up in the gumbo, fire up that jambalaya, and then you can just get the boy, you just come in there, you rip your shirt off, and you just beat on your chest and say, whoa, and then just go out there and run all over.
Coach O.
Hug it down, kids.
Do you want to coach the LSU Tigers after this season is over? Do you want the job permanently, Coach O?
I tell you, Lance.
The Coach O, I mean.
Oh, thank you for correcting yourself. I tell you, it is my dream job to coach the Tigers. I grew up in South Louisiana. My mama was Papa, my mama Coco, and I just, I love being down in South Louisiana, that Southern California shit. That's for the fucking birds. So I don't know what I gotta do. I gotta go undefeated. Can I lose one game? Doesn't matter. If I beat Alabama and then I lose the last game, do they still give me the job? I don't know, but I'm happy to coach LSU Tigers.
Coach O.
Hug it down, kid.
Hey, thank you, the Coach O. What is your prediction for the rest of the year for the LSU Tigers?
Boy, I tell you, boy, we're gonna go out there 100% every time. We're gonna run. We're gonna spread them out. We're gonna pass the ball. We're gonna run the ball, and then wait. We just gonna play 150%. We just fuck, man. We gonna kick some ass. We're gonna put the fire on the bio. Go Tigers!
Thank you, Coach O. Thanks, Coach.
That's some good improv.
Let's say hunker down.
Hunker down.
Hunker down, y'all.
Hunker down.
Hunker down. Hunker down.
Hunker down.
Hunker down.
Hunker down.
Okay, I think it's working now. So, welcome to Hunker Downcast, episode number 24.
24 hours to go.
Yeah.
I want to be recorded.
Yeah.
So already,
damn, that was a good one.
Already, we're the little notations where this is the episode where Alli sings,
and she picked up something we haven't done since episode 19, which was
sing a song with the word with the number in it.
Yep.
Yeah. We thought that was going to be put to bed, but
I beat you to the punch.
There was no way I was even going to make that punch. I wasn't even thinking that.
You're off your game.
Yeah. I'll be back next week, though.
You got a 25?
I think of a 25.
Okay.
I got one already.
All right, we'll save it for next week.
All right, I'm going to save it.
Save it
for next episode.
Okay. Oh, this is so hard. I can't keep secrets. Damn.
The whole universe could end before the next episode, and then they wouldn't know.
I hate... Oh,
we have to wait a whole season just to find out who Negan beat with a baseball bat.
Who?
What?
Walking Dead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Nobody cares about that.
We had to wait a whole year just to find out who shot JR. People have to wait sometimes.
Yeah, okay. What the hell were we talking about? Okay, so this is our 24th episode. And
what were we talking about when?
It's our year anniversary.
Yeah. Hey, congratulations to us.
We made it.
We started as bloggers.
We made it.
And then we would sit around at Rising Tide conferences, and we would sit at a table and kind of hate on a conference that we created ourselves. A little drunk sometimes.
What Lance is doing right now is he's trying to recreate...
Nope, stop.
Why are you self-actualizing?
Because you went into the whole bit.
No, it's
not
an
a
inside
bit.
joke amongst us.
Oh, okay.
It's a little wink, wink, nudge, nudge that we're not letting Tim and him in on.
All right. Well, I'm sorry, Tim and him. I guess you can't be...
man. You're a terrible liar. Jeff is always truthful, y'all. Never suspected Jeff is bullshitting. He's a terrible bullshitter.
Keep that mic close to your grill.
All right.
It's our 1 year anniversary, and man, those were the days.
Didn't you go back and listen to our pilot episode recently?
Our pilot episode sounded a lot like this one.
No, it sounded worse.
It was worse in this one, but it sounded a lot like this one. In fact, in the sense that there was a lot of self-actualization going.
There was a lot of consciousness of what we were trying to do, rather than just the three of us hanging out.
for some reason.
Oh,
Well,
I can't
no.
imagine why.
For Jeff. Because Jeff was there,
Right.
completely self-actualized and nervous about the
Oh yeah,
whole thing.
that's Jeff.
Obviously never
you're
been-
Varg. I'm Alli. We forgot to do introductions this time.
Together we're the Hunker Downcast. Were you ever in a play or anything when you were growing up?
Yes, actually.
What were
Wait,
you
really?
in?
Yeah.
You did like theater as a kid?
So this is like that.
Yeah.
Sort of, in that you're playing
Right.
yourself, but
and
you're also trying to hide all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes.
Right.
Because Tim and them don't really want to know about all that.
I know,
They're
but
here
it
for the
feels
show.
inauthentic. It feels like you're
To a
lying
certain
to the
extent,
people.
show business has a certain inauthenticity
Yeah.
to it, so that the people can better enjoy it.
People like to hear lies, is what you're trying to say.
No, it's an escapism for them, even something like this.
Okay.
They don't care what's going on. They don't care what color shoes I got on. They don't care about my salmon suede shoes.
Nice humble brag about your shoes there.
I slipped
Varg.
that in. Y'all do care about them.
I'm more jealous of your linen pants.
You got to shop in the ladies section at the thrift store. I picked that one up.
Okay.
Thrift store hack, fellas. Shop in the ladies section. There's
Ladies'
good shit
pants?
there. Oh yeah.
They
Good.
got more room? Is that how that works?
I don't know why. There's nothing you can grab there.
Do you have hips? Is that what the thing
Yeah,
is?
I got hips.
Okay.
I got anything that's sexy.
Varg's hips don't lie, so the thing to find. Blah blah blah. I've got a beard.
I might get breast implants. I don't know, just because it's crazy.
Wow.
That's something.
Yeah, just for fun.
Sure. That doesn't sound very fun.
Well,
It
it will be after it's done.
It sounds expensive and painful.
All right, you talked me out of it.
All right.
What's up, Jeff?
Hi, Jeff.
Why? What's wrong with him?
So, fuck.
We want to make sure that this episode has a little icon by it that says Alli sings. Maybe Lance discusses wrestling and how life is like it. A Star Wars reference.
Have you seen any kayfabe in the real world lately?
Not lately.
Okay.
Well, this right now might be some kayfabe.
Okay.
What we're enduring here in Jeff's just inability to get on gear. He's just not recovering.
I didn't know
we
it-
lost a fucking segment, okay? And Jeff is he's not recovering.
Spit it out. Just spit it out.
He's not. He's lost 3
Because
games
it
in a row.
was so good.
We
It was
fucked
so
up. We
good.
fucked up 20 minutes of this recording,
Right.
and now we're trying to redo it, and we've lost that love and feeling.
It was like-
that love and feeling.
When the lights went out at the Super Bowl and the Ravens got all fucked up and allowed the
We've
Niners
lost
to
that
come
love
back.
and feeling. Now it's gone.
Let's
Gone.
just move on to
Gone.
what the fuck we were going to talk about. That'll get us going.
Well, listen. Let's try and do this because I think it's.
Oh, good. He's
I,
back.
I think it's worth. I think it's worth reflecting on the 1 year, and I think that we were in the lost part of
we were
this.
tr-
We were talking about how much fun we've had and how we've kind of realized some of the things that we'd set out for ourselves at the beginning.
Yeah, we actually did set goals when we started this.
right,
My goal was to have at least 5 listeners.
and we did better than that.
We've surpassed that
and we
because
want-
Tim and them are the best.
Tim
They're
and them
great.
are great. Are great folks. Are a great audience, and we really appreciate everybody putting up with our bullshit. And
You're gonna get those satin jackets eventually.
the satin jackets. Thank
Mm-hmm.
you for reminding me of the satin jackets. How come we didn't get on that yet?
We were supposed to do that?
Yeah, well, apparently.
No, that's only once we become media moguls.
Oh, okay. When we sell it for $1 billion or whatever.
$1 million.
$1 million.
I'm not.
$1 million to Richard Branson, right?
Yes, hopefully.
Yeah.
You know what? There's a certain theory that I have in my head that anything that's created now, if humanity makes it 1,000 years, will be utterly franchised and regarded in the ways that okay, now you got like people like Shakespeare and Beethoven and shit, and they're just like revered as greats. And then there always just seems to be more and more and more greats. As humanity just trudges forward, there's more and more like Beethoven and Shakespeare type figures happening. So at some point, as it moves on, almost anything created now, as we are kind of in our infancy of media and arts, it'll all be as big as that. So we might sell it. So at some point, some future version of somebody might sell these archives for $1 billion. Because money's also gonna, it's gonna go down in value. $1 billion, like
there is
$1 million
so
is not
much to unpack in that statement.
Well, just
that I
y'all
don't
think
even know
about it.
where to begin. with
Okay,
that.
when you edit this in post, please put the Battlestar Galactica theme behind that.
That's
monologue.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Right. We'll have to revisit all of those predictions.
Oh, I was thinking the dun, 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 dun,
There's that
dun,
one, too.
dun, 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 that part. Yeah.
If we're talking
In a
wrestling
1,000
terms
years.
like kayfabe,
Which I didn't know what that was until
it's
like,
a great,
like 3 months ago.
it's a great.
I learned about it
term.
on Chapo Trap House.
There's this thing called marking out, which means where you already know what's happening and you already know it's all fake and stuff, but something up there in the ring happens that's so awesome that you really get excited and you get all up in your feels.
Oh.
It's called marking out.
As Roz says,
Yes.
you get all up in your feelings.
Yeah. So there's a scene at the end of Battlestar Galactica, the new version, where I think they remember when they took all the ships and they just drove them into the sun, which I thought was this in a
Spoiler alert.
in a whole series of stupid decisions that those characters made. I
Yeah,
thought that was definitely the dumbest one, but
Yeah.
they did it so they could get more feel more natural or whatever. Anyways, as they're like steering them towards the sun and they're about to shoot them into it, like in the score, they play the original theme music that I heard as a little boy, like 5 years old. And
okay.
I marked out / got all up in my feels when they did that. I was like,
Okay.
oh man, nice little homage to the original. To do one for the old folks.
Yeah, I never watched the original. I loved the new one, except I hated the finale. But I think we've talked about this before.
The original had a little mechanical dog that was basically the Jar Jar Binks. Star Wars reference, you can put that icon on this episode.
Got that.
That was basically the Jar Jar Binks in that show. Like the kids loved him, but any adult watching probably hated Muffet or Daggett or something. I forgot what his name was.
Very memorable.
He looked like Mr. Robert from Thunder Minu. He kind of looked like him.
So we've had our classic opening digression, or 2 or 3 of them.
Maybe
Right.
that's-
What else
maybe
we
Jeff's
got to
gonna-
cover before we get to speed round?
Jeff will be oiled
Well,
up now.
we've achieved more than 5 listeners in the year. We haven't sold it for $1 million yet.
What was your goal, Jeff?
I don't even remember at this point.
Did you have one?
No.
Jeff
well-
doesn't have goals.
Yeah. I would say the other thing that I wanted out of this was to get to spend more time with you guys. And
Now you've spent.
And
now you-
have we ever done
Now
that?
you dread coming here.
no, we've hung out on a regular basis, like way more than we otherwise would have.
No, that's true.
I think that's great. I'm just very glad that everyone else who listens to this indulges our friendship maintenance machine called this podcast.
The FMM.
Yeah,
so
we've had a lot of good
All
meals.
you husbands and wives out there who feel a little distance in your marriage, start a podcast. See how that goes.
We've had a lot of
All I'm saying is that I thought that if you cooked, that if I cooked it, you would do the dishes.
right. Well, and then then the shipping comes into effect, and then, then there's a whole other dimension to that.
There's so much distance between us today.
Yeah, we don't have to share a mic.
So what? I guess the other thing that I noticed in going back and looking at the first episode was some of the content. That first episode we talked about the love letters to New Orleans,
Oh, I hate those.
and we kind of slagged on that for a while. And I noticed later on that we got into a couple of moments in later episodes where we wrote our own hate letters to New Orleans.
Good.
There was the one a couple months back where we were talking about New Orleans in the summertime and how terrible everything was, and that was pretty funny.
It's still summertime. It's October. It's mid-October. It's still summertime.
Right, it's still pretty bad.
87.
Some bullshit.
And then the other one was Lance going all over Mid-City last time.
We were ahead of things a couple times. One time during the Jive Wire, we said there was a venue called This Space Available's Jazz Playhouse, and now this space is available.
Yes.
And at one point, we also talked about possibly destroying the block that holds Kyoto Sushi on it, and now Kyoto Sushi is closing. So a couple times we were ahead of the curve. Although looking back on that whole segment, I kind of feel bad about it, considering now Kyoto Sushi is closing and such. And for the reasons why it's closing, I feel bad.
Also, I totally predicted that those draft picks from Stanford would ruin the Saints.
There was also
we'll get to more on that later.
There was that happened, and there was also the time where we did the John Bell Edwards as Clarissa Explains It All bit.
Yeah,
and then
that was a good one.
The next week, Melissa Joan Hart endorsed Gary Johnson for president, and that became like
she's
a big
his
thing.
Connecticut campaign chair or something.
I had no idea. I didn't even know that she was even alive anymore.
She has to explain to him where Aleppo is.
Right, somebody has to do that.
That's a Marx brother, huh?
No, what?
Aleppo, he's a Marx brother, huh?
Are you serious right now?
No.
Okay, good.
I thought it was a dog food brand, actually.
Oh, God.
Also, we in one episode
That's Alpo.
predicted that Colin Kaepernick and Drew Brees would face each other on the field, and that looks like it's going to happen.
It might.
So they might be sitting Gabbert.
Yeah. So the one of the major aspirations for any podcast is to begin to bend reality to your particular idiom.
I don't know if that exactly is.
Hunkstradownmus.
Yes.
Hunkstradownmus.
So we now have
Nailed it.
Jeff's clandestine reasons for starting a podcast to bend reality to his will.
Oh, yeah, that sounds like Jeff.
Yeah. I did not know.
He didn't want to hang out with us. He just wanted to shape the future as we know it.
That's right.
And we didn't think he had goals. God damn.
No, yeah.
The thing that I was telling them earlier about this was the other day I was out jogging and I have on my music player I have the classic New Orleans rock album Hogburst by Testaverde, and the song Campers came on.
Have I heard that song before?
Yeah, it actually is the theme to our show.
Oh, shit.
And
I'll be there for you. It goes like that?
Yeah, it goes exactly like that. And I thought, oh, look, the show's coming on. So it's now I no longer associate that song with that particular track from the album. Now it's just that's the Hunker Downcast song. So I guess, thanks to our good friends at, from the rock band Testaverde.
I've never even met them. But you're good friends, I guess.
Yeah, I know a few of them.
I only know Jobo.
And for lending us that song, it's and now
you did it without permission. They
I know.
Didn't lend us shit. You don't got to thank them.
It's been
You took
retconned.
it.
It's been retconned.
Oh, okay.
It's all smoothed over. So so there's that.
Bum, 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 dum, 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 dum.
And now we're at the part where guys just sing.
I don't know that one.
That's Dallas.
Sing themes.
I think
music.
you were probably.
It was
not
a little
born
before my time.
when JR got shot. When were you born?
85.
Yeah, JR was already been shot maybe twice. A dream season had happened.
But I've watched an embarrassing amount of MASH, and that all happened before I was born too.
You're embarrassed because of how kind of preachy it is and stuff?
No, just because of how much of it I've seen.
It's a good show.
I love MASH.
Radar has a deformed hand. Remember that next time you watch it. They never show his deformed hand.
What is wrong with you?
It's just shit I know. He's got a deformed hand, and they never show it in the show.
This is
Just watch the show. They always find a way to block the deformed hand.
They should call
because
show.
They wouldn't have let him in the army otherwise. So it's kind of an anachronism.
They should call it Johnny Deformed.
What do you got for us? Yes, it's our 1 year anniversary.
Yeah, so
proud we are of ourselves and such. And
yeah, let's get out of this.
Reality is bending.
Is your mic working? Are we sure about this?
Stop talking.
Okay.
Let's see if he.
We can do that if you like.
Okay, Jeff.
I had a thing.
Go ahead.
More things.
So the other thing that I noticed from the first episode was this. We talked about an article predicting in 100 years that basically the whole state was going to be underwater. And it was the depressing article by some
Now it's
group.
75.
Yeah, now it's worse, right?
Yeah.
So, in fact, right now, you can there's a story out today in the Picayune about the progress on the 50-year coastal plan.
I feel like climate change is a train coming straight at me, and my lifestyle and age is a train headed straight for it. And I just hope that I die before that climate change happens.
He was just trying to get off.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm going to, drink a lot.
I just hope that the explosion of those things is violent and entertaining.
Well, I hope that the explosion doesn't happen at all. That my train jumps off the track before that train hits the rest of y'all.
The other strategy is to find like when you're going to sell out of New Orleans before the market starts to crash.
I think it'll fuck just moving to high ground ain't going to save you. Your whole life is going to be fucked up.
Oh,
like
certainly.
economic systems are going to collapse and shit. And
Right, because you're not the only one that it's happening to.
Right, you're going to run out of food and all kinds of shit's going to.
Yeah, so
I don't want to be around for it, so I'm going to drink some more beer.
Okay, that's a pretty good plan.
And, it's a tightrope too. It's kind of a balancing act in that you don't want to miss anything. You want to jump off right before that shit happens.
So it's like a game of chicken, would you say?
Yep. Climate change happening, sea levels starting to rise, and you maintaining a bit of a lifestyle that keeps you alive enough to get there right before Greenland melts and everything goes fucking nuts. And I could even be there for a couple years of that. Just be like, whoa, shit is kind of nuts. And then be like, all right, I'm out of here. Sorry, millennials.
Well,
sorry.
In the meantime, the thing that's in the news about this week is the governor is trying to press ahead with this lawsuit against the oil and gas company, the oil and gas industry. I'm sorry. As climate change happens and as sea levels rise, Louisiana's coast is eroding, and the oil and gas industry is doubly responsible for it because they create the carbon that goes into the atmosphere, but B, in
allegedly.
Louisiana, they're responsible for ripping up the coastal wetlands, and people know this.
That is definitely provable.
Right. And so, there's this long-standing argument over whether or not the state or different parishes or different levy boards should be suing the industry as a whole to force them to pay for funding the state's coastal master plan, which is now looking more and more dire as, every time they revise it.
Yeah, I think the 2012 worst case scenario is now our best case scenario.
Right, and in the article I was just talking about a minute ago today is that the 2012 scenario is now no longer even a thing. Like now it's even worse. So in the context of all of this, the governor has said that the state is going to go forward with this lawsuit unless there's a settlement. And in order to make the suit as strong as possible, he would like all of the parishes in the coastal region to sign on to it. And he's gotten a lot of them, but some of them are holding back. And one of the things in the
Which ones?
Lafourche Parish this week said that they're not going to participate.
Fuck, why?
Because there's a lot of oil money in Lafourche Parish.
Well, goddamn, there's not going to be any Lafourche Parish.
No, there's not.
No, but there's still going to be, and that's the thing.
There's also clowns in Lafourche Parish.
So you've got
I don't know if that's related or not.
It probably is.
Send in the clowns.
But that's what it is. It's that thing you were just talking about. All those guys down there are just trying to figure out, well, how do I get mine and get out before
Can't blame them for that.
everything goes into the ocean.
Bravo, Lafourche.
But the big fight is between the governor and the attorney general, who has done his best to obstruct everything by criticizing the governor's lawyers that he's hired for it. They seem to have worked out a bit of a compromise in that regard. But the other thing that's kind of holding them back is there's a Senate campaign going on right now. And
what?
There is. You may not know this, but we're not only electing a president in the fall, in November, we're electing an actual senator from the state of Louisiana to replace the outgoing and hopefully dead forever David Vitter.
Hopefully dead forever.
But
not actually dead, but just I don't want to wish for anyone's actual human death. on this show.
No, I didn't mean that. I mean, especially since we're so responsible for bending reality.
Right, exactly.
On this show or in real life or just...
No, in general. I don't like...
Oh, okay.
I don't like
that either. I don't like that when a conservative dies, people going, thank God, and shit like that. It's fucking tacky. Someone's going to put
Anyway, there's a Senate campaign.
Yeah, so
Who's running for the Senate?
20,000 people are running for Senate. And all of them are opposed to this coastal lawsuit except for Foster Campbell.
Oh, thank God.
The hilarious white-haired man who I immediately took to be like a Dennis Hastert type figure by looking at his picture.
Yes.
I looked at all of them. I was like, that looks like the fucking worst one of the bunch right there. I did. I judged that dude.
And he's the best.
Well, I heard him talk, and he was saying smart things, but he didn't sound smart.
I voted for him for governor a few years ago when he ran against Jindal.
Yeah, back in the days when there was nobody to vote for, basically.
Yeah.
Those have always been the days.
And he's been a public service commissioner for a few years now from North Louisiana, so he's regulating the Entergies of the world, right?
Yeah, no, Foster Campbell has a pretty progressive record in the context of Louisiana.
If you look at him and you listen to him talk, it sounds like he's one of the most...
What, you don't think people with southern accents could be like progressive liberals?
I don't know. I guess I'm so tuned in to like variances in southern accents. He didn't sound like one of the ones that would be a progressive liberal. He sounded like kind of more of a redneck.
Because he knows I'll fight and stand up for the people, to make health care more affordable, to increase the minimum wage, and to pass equal pay for women. It's time for the rich and powerful to pay their fair share, and for the middle class and small businesses to get a break. I'm Foster Campbell, and I approve this message.
So I guess if you're listening to southern accents, when you hear that fucking redneck one that comes with a certain cockiness and a certain NASCAR type affiliation, I can tell a goddamn conservative fucker when I hear one, and he does have a little bit of a drawl that kind of made me think, okay, he might be.
So you're talking about your immediate
But he doesn't
signals
say,
that you pick up.
I was listening to him talk the other night, and he was just saying the same shit over and over again, and he led one point into the very same point.
Yeah.
Like he was like, this, and this.
He's not...
And that's why this, and this. And it was the same shit.
Well, okay, so he hasn't been exceptionally successful as a statewide candidate, although he has run for governor, I think more than once, actually.
Yeah, it used to be like him, Bobby Jindal, and Walter Boasso on the ticket
right.
for, like every time.
Right. Those were the days when there were no Democrats willing to run for anything in statewide.
How are these guys doing? Who's leading in the polls?
So right now, the front runners are John Kennedy and Charles Bustani, and
the hoe chaser.
Yeah.
Damn. And who's the other guy? Kennedy.
Yeah, John Kennedy, whose latest ad... Have you seen John Kennedy's latest ad?
No.
I have not, but I saw you tweet about it.
John Kennedy's latest ad ends with the weirdest line. He says... I'm trying to remember how it goes exactly, but it's... I believe love is the answer, but you might want to keep a gun just in case.
No, he doesn't say that.
That's exactly what he says at the end of this ad.
I believe that love is the answer, but you ought to own a handgun just in case. I'm John Kennedy, conservative for U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
And what is he trying to say?
Those are his exact words?
What
it's
is he
not implied or anything?
No, that is what he says. And so what is he trying to say? Is he trying to say, like, someday you might want to shoot the one you love? Like, what does that even mean?
When love fails, there's always firearms.
You might want to keep a gun just in case. And he's like, give you that John Kennedy smirk, which is just fun.
Hey, that's another fun Hunker Downcast memories when we went over John Kennedy's 1,000 ways to fix the budget.
The 400 ways to fix your budget.
Yeah.
You cut football, Paul. Close a good school, fool. Raise a new tax, jacks. Fill the treasury. There must be 400 ways to fill the budget.
I think that led to a lost segment too, didn't it?
It probably did. That was the last time we
left
fucked up a segment.
The reverb on that
Yeah.
one and lost a segment. the original segment in which it was speculated that Bronze Tom had a creamy nougat center. I think that was the birth of that.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And we lost it.
Well, and he definitely does have a creamy nougat center.
We're going to find out when we tear that fucking statue down along with Robert E. Lee and the Liberty Monument.
Yep.
These are, again, bending reality too.
Sayonara,
Yeah,
Bronze Tom.
We're going to make it happen.
It happened.
Saints won't win until he's gone.
So what were we talking about? Oh, so just to finish this with the
Senate.
Yeah,
with
let's
the
finish
senators.
this Senate shit.
So
There's a lady too, right?
You had asked about the candidates. So those the front running Republicans, even though there's like 20 million of them in the race, the front running Republicans are Bustani and
Is that
and Kennedy.
lawn care guy from New Orleans running?
No, not this year.
Okay.
But you have a lot of nutballs in the race. You got Rob Maness running. David Duke obviously is running.
All of Maness's signs are in camo. He's really going full out with
Yeah.
that.
Well,
I was in the military.
And it's
Because
interesting.
his name is Madness. If you look at it, it's Madness.
Madness.
Of course, he's going to go all masculine.
It's
and shit.
it's an interesting race to watch with so many candidates in it because the niche candidates are fighting for their one little slice of crazy. Like Maness and John Fleming and David Duke are all kind of like fighting for the same, like Tea Party-ish
David Duke
kind of
running?
Of course, David Duke is
Yeah.
running. That's why we've been seeing David Duke in the news for
How did
like
I
the
miss
last.
this that he's actually running?
I have no idea.
He was going after all the wives.
Is
in
he
the
on
KKK.
the ballot? Like
Yes.
he qualified for the ballot?
Yes, that's why he's like walking in the daylight now.
He got asked to leave in the last episode. He got asked to leave the KKK because he was banging all their wives.
I mean, I remember that part.
I listened to that episode the other day and I started cracking up during that.
I just forgot that he was actually running for something.
Yeah, so David Duke is running, and he's part of.
No,
that,
I remember now.
He's
I'm
part
back.
of. He's
Why
part
did
of that.
you join
mix.
the KKK? Because you hate? No, because of all the pussy, man.
Right.
You can say that now.
Right.
Pussies.
Isn't
We
it
can talk
interesting
about
that David Duke and Donald Trump have this relationship on Twitter, and
They're
knew
both
that they both
poon hounds.
yeah
They're both alpha wolf dudes.
alpha wolf sexual predators.
Oh, God.
Isn't it amazing? But so anyway, just finish talking about the Senate
Vote
race
for
real quick.
Foster Campbell.
So there's that slice of Republican land is divided amongst those guys, and then you have Bustani and Kennedy, who I guess are supposed to be the mainstream moderate Republicans, whatever that means in Louisiana, because it doesn't mean a heck of a lot as far as being in the in the mainstream. Although there is,
I mean, are they more like Tom Cotton Republicans, or are they more like Paul Ryan Republicans?
right. Although there's an ad, or not an ad, but there's a press release or somewhere where Fleming is criticizing both of them for being John Kerry Republicans. Because somewhere there is... Remember, John Kennedy used to be a
Words
Democrat.
have lost meaning for all of these people.
Well, no, here's what it is. John Kennedy used to be a Democrat.
I know.
Because he's the phoniest person in Louisiana, first of all. He's just the biggest piece of shit. But
That's your word right now.
There is I don't think there's audio of it, but there's this speech he gave in favor of John Kerry. He campaigning for Kerry in 2004, and that people are talking about now. And so, he's supposed to be the front running Republican, but if that, if John Kerry's going to drag him down.
Oh my God. Nobody cares.
And in the meantime, there are two Democrats in the race. There's Foster Campbell, who we talked about as he's the dim cowboy.
How about them Cowboys?
And Caroline Fayard, who I don't want to... we've already spent too much time on this, but I could talk about Caroline Fayard and her problems for a long time. But I just want to bring this back to a completion by saying, Caroline Fayard at the latest forum came out against... She, first of all, is against this lawsuit that the governor is trying to push against the oil and gas industry. She says that lawsuits are a waste of time and they're expensive, which is hilarious because...
She's a lawyer.
She is a lawyer. Her father is one of the richest lawyers in the state of Louisiana who has made his fortune on environmental lawsuits, including the lawsuit against BP and the settlement process against BP, which Caroline uses in her campaign literature as proof of her, or as evidence of her, standing up to oil companies. So
she's holding a bunch of children hostage as human shields in her latest campaign ad.
She has an hilarious ad up where she appears to be hiding behind a row of terrified children. We'll have to put that in the show notes.
Can't blame her for that.
All right, I need to take a break.
Okay, so
Okay.
Alli needs to take a break, and I guess that's basically everything we have for that.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to take a break, and then we'll come back probably with the sports stuff, right?
Okay, great.
All right. Okay, we're back. Thanks for bearing with us. What do we talk about? Do we want to do?
I want to talk about the LSU Florida game.
You want to do that?
And how LSU fans were dicks again. And LSU fans are dicks. That school is comprised of dicks. And now that Les Miles isn't there, I can fully embrace my hate.
I'm really
They
disappointed.
keep a tiger chained up who is so sad that he
Oh my God!
dies
No.
of cancer. No, that's why.
No.
And then
No,
they want to do it to another tiger.
No.
One has already died of sadness.
No.
And they're like, what are we going to do? We're going to bring another one in there.
No.
Oh, that tiger's got it good. He lives in a cage.
No, you're
Wait,
wrong.
None of that. None of that.
None of that is correct.
We all
But-
know someone who has died of sadness, and they call it cancer, but we know it's sadness.
Oh my God! What are you even talking
Why
about?
do you hate tigers is what I want to know. Why do you want to keep a tiger chained up in a cage and act like that cage? Like, would you want to live in a mansion your whole life? No.
So Mike the Sixth came from a
Cancer Alley, a parish.
No, he
between
came.
Baton
He
Rouge and
actually
New
he
Orleans?
came from a facility that was pretty shitty and falling apart at the time, and
Called Great Cats of Indiana,
That's right.
and it is now closed down.
And LSU actually rescued him from that and put him in. And you have been there. You've been to the LSU campus,
Yes,
and
yes.
seen the tiger habitat. They take great care of that animal.
So
And-
yeah, he should be glad that he's caged up.
Well, he lived.
It's the best thing that ever happened to him.
He lived, I think, 11 years, where the typical lifespan for a tiger in captivity is about 10 years. So he did okay. Cancer is bad. It sucks. Everybody was very
Call it
sad.
what it is, sadness.
But when he got the cancer, he got like the royal treatment. Like he got the
They took
best.
him to Mary Bird Perkins in the middle of the night with a police escort so that he could get X-ray and get radiation treatment. He got they advanced big cat veterinary medicine leaps and bounds just by working with Mike.
Possibly. I mean, this is something that
I
people
hope.
have brought up.
Is
I hope.
y'all being apologists for keeping a tiger on a university campus?
They rescued an animal that was in a bad situation, and they gave it the best care that it could
like
possibly have.
Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, kind of.
No.
No,
They were like the Madonna to Mike.
I mean, tigers in the wild get poached and
Some
skinned.
of them do. A lot of them don't. A lot of them just kick it in the wild and be free.
some of them end up at truck stops where they.
Well, aren't they trying to get that one?
Well,
They're not gonna.
They're not going to get that one.
The tiger truck stock's not giving them up.
No, well, that and there's the argument is that animal, I think, at this stage of
He's
its
going to die
life,
soon too, and you don't want to have to go through
Is-
it. We don't
right.
want to turn this into a Uga type situation where he dies every 2 years and shit like that.
yeah, that would be bad. Although
Child stars or live college mascots, who dies quicker? It's all wrong. Y'all should stop having live mascots. It's bullshit.
Could not disagree more.
I
cruel.
don't really have that hard line of position on this.
I just do it because I like fucking with LSU and
Right.
fucking.
In other words, you're not really. It doesn't really matter. You just like fucking with people, but that's okay.
No, fuck that. They shouldn't have a tiger on the campus too. There's a myriad of things that I give a fuck about, but if I can fuck with my friends about one of them, then I might, start really getting vocal about it.
Right. I mean, this goes
And there's a
into-
lot of money spent on that fucking enclosure too, isn't there?
There is. So this ties into the whole morality of zoos question. I mean, do you think that we should just not have zoos in cities, or are you one of
Dicks
these
out
people?
for Harambe.
That's right. I mean, what Harambe might have been okay.
No, I don't think we should have zoos. It fucking sucks. You go and you stare. Yeah, it's like going to a prison and staring at them. Do they got? Do we have? Well, we have the Angola prison rodeo. It's kind of the same thing.
I mean, I think it's a fair.
Fuck
I think it's
zoos,
a fair assessment that we should have probably far fewer zoos than we do now. Like, we should probably narrow down the zoos we have to the ones that are the highest standards, the best. So, like, Cincinnati Zoo and San Diego Zoo, like, the ones that are, like, the best. But on the other hand, LSU has one of the best vet schools in the country. They take great care of this tiger.
Who died? They took great care of the tiger who died of cancer.
You're trolling me. I'm not
Everyone
even gonna-
dies.
Everyone died. All right.
But
Why
you're
do I
right.
even try?
So
no, fuck that. What did they do with Florida? What happened there, Jeff? LSU was being dicks again.
All right, so I was
and their
looking-
fans were being bigger dicks.
I was totally looking forward to this LSU Florida weekend where we could fucking talk shit to one another, right? But
Something way better is happening. We can talk shit about this now.
I had to go out of town, so I was going to miss it anyway. And then the other thing is a giant storm came and canceled the whole game out. So we
Which
had
was
to
fair. It was fair to cancel the game.
This October storm that you were talking about last time.
We
remember?
bend another time
Again.
that we bent reality.
That's right. So the October storm happens, and Tulane was also playing in Florida that weekend, and they didn't have any problem canceling their game, and nobody made a big controversy out of it. LSU Florida had issues.
The forecast kept looking worse and worse, and at first Florida was like, "Oh, why don't y'all fly into Tampa and come?" Can't fly into Gainesville, I guess. So just fly into Tampa and drive to Gainesville. That'll
Right.
solve it. That didn't really work.
No, and it got to be. It just looked like they were holding on to the last minute to decide, whether they were going to blow it off or not.
They kept postponing the decision.
And then they decided to cancel it. And there are all these back channel stories about how the negotiations went. And
Well, they didn't say cancel. They said indefinitely postpone.
I'm sorry, indefinitely postponed. They postponed the game. But the next thing I read about it was Joe Oliva saying, "Well, we offered them our plane, and we offered to
It was
host
the guy
them."
who fired Les Miles, right?
Yes. We offered to host them. We offered them our plane. We offered them all, the same kind of thing they offered South
Robert
Carolina.
De Niro
last-
was offering Lorraine Bracco those dresses during Goodfellas, too. He's like, go get those dresses. It's just right in there, Karen. Go ahead. Yeah, come. Why don't you get on a plane while you're getting while your campus is getting hit by a hurricane and fly over here to our campus and have an away game.
Well, it's what they did to South Carolina last year.
It's a different situation. Those are floods. Those are slow rising floods, not a chaotic fucking hurricane that's going to go anywhere or do anything. It's not even the same fucking... I heard that so many times. I was like, that's not the same. And the floods were over.
Yeah.
They were recovering from the floods, whereas this hurricane was happening.
No, I know, but I'm just from the standpoint of the logistics of rejiggering the schedule. If they could have, they would have hosted the game there. I'm not even arguing that they should have played the game. I don't think they should have played the game.
Well, tons of your fellow LSU fans who are dicks did.
I think they could have played it on Sunday, just like Georgia and South Carolina played on Sunday.
In
Just
Gainesville?
Like they played in Columbia on Sunday.
Did they offer to play on Sunday? Was that
I don't know if it was offered because I don't know that they reported on that, but I think they should have played on Sunday. Just like I think the Notre Dame NC State game should have been played on Sunday.
okay?
Like they should not have played any of these games on Saturday. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, Notre Dame actually played in the storm.
Yeah, and it was a fucking nightmare.
And they lost again.
And they lost. But it should have never been played.
Yeah, it looked like a mess.
They were
And
playing,
it was on Saturday?
They were playing in a
Yeah.
swimming pool in
Well,
Raleigh.
that's proof right there.
In
then, that
Raleigh.
They shouldn't have played the fucking game.
Right. They should have played it on
Well,
Sunday.
the LSU game, LSU fans weren't saying that shit online. They were like, beautiful weather in Gainesville right now. Blah, blah, blah.
But also, I mean, I think
Fire Les Miles.
Miami and Florida State played in in Miami or in Tallahassee? I don't know. On Saturday night, they played, and that was fine. I think that
the
it was in
hurricane
Miami.
was further north there.
Yeah, it was
it's
in Miami.
later in the day.
By Saturday night, it was up in the Carolinas, and
So
then Sunday it was cleared.
So
what happened today?
Right. So the controversy wasn't so much whether or not they should play the game. They should have played the game. I'm totally fine with them postponing the game that weekend. I thought that was probably the right thing to do.
A lot of people weren't.
Well,
Okay.
Varg, I think the problem was that a lot of LSU fans saw it as Florida daring LSU to forfeit all week long because it was obviously more dangerous for LSU to get to Gainesville than it was for Florida to continue to just say that they're going to host a game in their own stadium all week as the forecast got worse and worse. But if LSU didn't want to go through with it, then it would be on them to forfeit, and that would clearly benefit Florida in the SEC standings.
Yeah. And then there was the post-event situation was Florida didn't – the argument was Florida didn't really want to play the game because it helps them in the standings to not have a game there.
Yeah.
Whereas with us, who knows what LSU's situation is right now, but it
and really, who knows what Florida is
doesn't-
because Tennessee's probably going to win the East anyway.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, probably. But even so, like Florida's thinking is that they're still in the race, and why have to go play against LSU, and we'll just kind of, we'll wipe that game off the schedule.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Or that there was a hurricane. Why would they want to travel to a game that was supposed to be a home game and get an extra away game, play a home game away because of a storm?
Right. Well, it turns out today they're going to do that.
Now they're going to do that.
They're gonna do
And not only are they going to do that, but Florida's AD is saying that they worked out with the SEC the deal to go do that without LSU even participating in the negotiation. That's basically what he said.
But at least they're going to have time now to prepare for this away game. It's not going to be a game that they were preparing to play at home, and then suddenly all their boys had to get on a plane and fly to LSU and stay at some place that just got it all get put together real quick, and it all sounds like that should work out too. But there's so many logistics. Some things are probably going to not be the same or left out. That's going to affect the kids and their performance, and it would totally have behooved LSU to sit at home and get an unexpected home game.
Well, the part of the deal there is LSU has to buy out. What was it South Alabama? Like $1 million buyout to buy out.
$1.5 million.
Okay, and the other thing,
or maybe it's the two of them combined had $1.5 million buyout. Both teams for that November 19th date.
Yeah, and
but the SEC's insurance is going to help them pay for that.
Oh, good. And the other thing is the next two LSU Florida games have to be played in Gainesville.
Right, so they're going to play 17 and 18 in Gainesville.
Yeah. So, I mean, it seems like...
But then last year we played in LSU, right?
Yeah.
So we're playing 2 here and then
2 there.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it works out. It's not like a big deal.
Well, your fans sure acted like it was.
It was a lot of posturing.
Tiger Cajun motherfuckers.
Apparently you had to hear a lot of crap from people.
Yeah, it was bullshit on the Twitter that day. And it was just more typical LSU fan shit. And I was like, why don't y'all go teabag somebody in Crystal? Because it seems like that's how y'all are acting. I'm not going to say that y'all are worse than Alabama fans because that's a bold statement, and you're not. Nobody has been publicly.
Wasn't it the Bama fan that was the teabagger?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I'm saying when y'all do that, y'all will be.
Okay.
But you're approaching that. The
I
firing of your coach
I don't
lame.
know.
Or, well, who is the second worst fan base in college football? Because it sure seems like y'all firing your coach in the middle of the season who's won you
I don't think the fans were in charge of firing the coach.
They were, they were hollering about it all the time. It's time for him to go. He needs to go.
They don't make that decision. They don't have the power to do that.
I'm not saying, but they supported it when it was a shitty decision, and they were all behind it. I mean, we're judging them for their behavior, and they're behaving like dicks, and they keep that tiger all chained up too.
Oh Lord.
The tiger's not chained up.
And they burn trees and shit.
What?
No, I'm just kidding.
You're talking about the tree that caught on fire at Auburn?
At Auburn?
Yeah.
Tiger fans. It's Tiger fans that did that.
It's Tiger fans. Well,
it'll all be settled. That's what's going to make that game super fun.
That's fine. It'll be November 19th.
If we come here and beat y'all, I'm going to be laughing my ass off. And if we don't, it was meant to happen anyways. It's a fucking win-win for me.
In the meantime, LSU has they're playing Southern Miss this weekend.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting locally. There's a lot of Southern Miss. The Southern Miss family extends into New Orleans.
For sure.
And there's a lot of their fans who are really anxious to get at LSU. That'll be kind of fun to see how that goes. I don't think they're going to blow it, but we'll see. The continuing story with LSU is Coach Ogeron. And
so we have an interview with this week.
We do, huh?
Yeah. After the Mizzou game, I was able to get into the press room and get an interview with him.
That was great that you were able to get that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he must have seen something in me. Like he must have identified that I was like
he's shaking.
You guys have a similar build, I feel like.
Yeah. I'm down with that.
He's shaking things up with the team, man. Like he's instilled this thing where they have like competition Tuesday at practice, and then they have turnover Wednesday at practice.
Has he wrestled any of them yet?
They might have wrestling Thursday. They might have
chicken drop Friday.
Exactly, chicken drop Friday. Everything is a themed day with them.
I like that. It keeps it interesting.
Yeah,
they really
pussy grabbing Sunday.
Pussy grabbing Sunday.
Yeah, that locker room talk.
It's a locker room.
They really should have Chicken Drop Friday. I would show up to campus for Chicken Drop Friday.
Okay.
That would be fun as
The first time someone gets hurt, though, it's over. They lost their center because he injured himself on Chicken Drop Friday. It's like, it's over, y'all. Didn't the Saints injure themselves on a water slide one year?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, Hazlitt took them to a water slide during training camp where they do those things to break the monotony.
Yeah.
I can't remember who got hurt, but some of them got hurt.
I thought a couple of them did.
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
Yeah, it was like that rash of firecracker injuries that they had a little while back.
Notre Dame either used to or they still do. I don't know if they still do it, but they did this thing a couple seasons ago called Trick Shot Wednesday, where they literally would they'd have a ping pong ball and like a cup of water, and they would just like they'd try and come up with the most elaborate shots that they could to get it to go in the cup. And there were some good videos that came out of that.
Hell yeah!
Two
Irish, one cup.
We should probably
that's disgusting.
We should probably finish the sports content that we have on the list.
Fuck Stanford. There's my sports content.
Yeah, so Notre Dame is playing Stanford this weekend. That's basically you guys' Super Bowl, right?
No, it happens to be the apex of the season thus far because of the
season is in the fucking
because of the joke that has become my Stanford hate, which. They're not even the team that I hate. They're not even the team in California that I hate the most.
Right,
that would be Southern Cal, who would play Thanksgiving weekend.
Okay.
But the joke, like the meme, the self-actualization that has become the Stanford hate, combined with Notre Dame's totally infuriating and disappointing season thus far.
Ooh, it's bad. Yeah.
Meets this weekend in a terrifying clash of expectations.
Terrifying clash of expectations.
Yeah.
I read that Navy had not beaten a top 10 opponent in like 35 years.
What?
There was like what was the stat that I read about Navy? Anyways, they did something when they beat y'all that they had not done in 35 years. I forgot
when Navy beat Notre Dame?
Yeah.
Back in 2007?
No, didn't they? Oh, Duke. No,
Duke
Navy beat. Who did Navy beat?
Navy beat Houston.
Houston, right? My bad. It was Houston. That was the stat that I read. Sorry. I was as shocked by that loss as I was.
But back when Navy did beat Notre Dame held a 43-year winning streak against Navy.
Yikes.
That they broke.
Thank you.
So that was a big deal, but it was many years ago.
Right. But that's not even quite as bad as this year. I mean, they lost to Duke. They lost to NC State in the flood.
They lost to Michigan State.
Who was
very average.
Not so bad now.
Here's the thing. We've lost to Texas, Michigan State, Duke, and NC State.
Right.
The best of those four teams is actually probably NC State. Because Texas is very average.
But that was the best game of all.
It was. That one was in overtime. Charlie Strong probably back on the hot seat now. Michigan State did a thing that is that they used to do back when I was in school at Notre Dame, which is we would lose to Michigan State in September in a very dramatic fashion, and then Michigan State would have an epic collapse right after. So they returned to their original gangster form by doing that. And then Duke looked totally average right after they beat Notre Dame. They went right back to being Duke. It was, I can't remember who they lost to.
I thought that game was unfair when Duke made Notre Dame play basketball instead of football. That was just wrong with them. No way Notre Dame was going to win.
Notre Dame beats Duke in basketball pretty regularly, actually.
They do? Do they win championships? Because Duke wins championships.
Not yet, but we're pretty close.
I didn't know that even Duke.
We're close.
I didn't know Duke even had a football team that could beat somebody.
Do you know?
Much less Notre Dame.
Their coach is David Cutcliffe. He's
do
really
you
good.
know that? Do you know where Steve Spurrier came from?
At what stage in his life, Jeff?
Before
when he was born.
Before
Tennessee.
The womb. I know you like that word.
Tennessee.
No, I mean that's where he made his name, was at Duke.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I thought he made his name at Florida both times.
Florida hired him because he was successful.
Okay,
at
so
Duke.
at a certain level in his coaching career,
He was the Duke coach.
he was at Duke, okay.
And then he
Yeah.
made the jump.
Okay,
Made
And
the
that
jump.
was also why he
jumped back.
He would always rank Duke in the coaches poll
Oh yeah,
every year
just because
You
just
can do
out
that.
of loyalty.
because he had a coaches poll vote, and so he would do that every year, just like to say,
so it would say Duke with a little parentheses 1, and that 1 was
yeah,
Spurrier.
Yeah.
Awesome.
yep.
I love him even more now.
Do you want to?
Pro ball? Are we going to talk about pro ball?
What?
Pro football?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant like the Pro Bowl. I was like,
No.
isn't it a little early for that?
Nor would we even talk about it if it
Right.
was.
Well, let's do this real quick because the Saints are back this week. They took
Saints are back.
They took last week off, and they somehow magically won a game in San Diego.
Magically.
It was yeah.
They did what the Saints normally do.
Right.
Something happened and it got all side bottom and
I watched a lot of this game, you guys.
It's hard to.
I didn't see that's what's fucked up. That's how side bottom it was.
It's hard to be like people were kind of excited about how it ended. Oh, the Saints won a game, but
No, the other team just pulled a Saint.
yeah, I mean that's like you cannot help but feel for the Chargers and their fans and just like the way that game ended. Where
Rivers Cuomo, their quarterback.
Yeah, Rivers Cuomo. Yeah, say it ain't so. I mean,
Your ball is a heartbreaker.
They should have kept Drew Brees. That was that was the lesson they learned. And Drew Brees cried.
Well, here's the thing about the way that game ended, right? It was that's just the most improbable thing. I haven't even looked at it.
It's something that would have happened to the Saints, but instead it just, for whatever reason, like God wasn't looking, and he was like, yeah, put this fucked up shit in this game. And
Yeah.
watching something else, he's like, oh, did we do that to the chart? No, we were supposed to do that to the Saints. Well, who did that, Michael? I don't know. All right, well, fuck it. The Saints got a victory.
Have you seen like these win probability charts that they like to do now where like at this point in the game, Team A has like a 90% chance of winning the game. And then the only reason they do these at all is so that they get the games that just suddenly make that hard dive into the other part of it. And this was certainly one of those, right? So, I mean, it's the most improbable thing in the world. And it happened at the end because the Chargers turned the ball over twice in their own territory when, it just was ridiculous.
I'm trying to remember how it actually went down. Do I need to pull the play chart up? Or can you recap it?
You can pull it up if you want to, but let me tell you. Let me tell you instead about what is funny to me is that after the game, the Advocate recap of it comes out. And it's the whole narrative is about how at halftime the Saints received a pep talk from starting, but most of the time backup left tackle Tony Hills.
Really?
Yes. Tony Hills gave them a strong talk at halftime about how they're not going to lose this game and blah, blah, blah,
He
blah.
stepped up and said, hey, man, no one's going to do this but back up Tony Hills.
Right.
I'm the man for this.
Right. So Tony Hills gives them an inspiring talk at halftime.
And everyone was like, what the fuck is up with Tony?
Right.
How he's doing this?
And then they go out in the second half and continue to kind of flounder around for a long time and not really and fall behind by a lot. And then at the end of the game, in the last 2 minutes, they get these 2 turnovers that help them win the game.
Also, Mark Ingram was both our leading receiver and our leading rusher.
That makes sense. And
put in a bit of a performance that day.
But Mark Ingram had 6 receptions for 49 yards and 18 rushes for 56 yards. Like, not spectacular numbers.
Neither.
No, that makes sense. I mean, if you watched the Saints when they were when they possessed the ball those last couple of times, for one thing, it looked like Drew Brees' arm was shot.
Yeah,
and they really were just handing the ball to Ingram a lot, and that got him in position to score one of those touchdowns anyway.
Well, actually, on our last drive, other than the one that he kneeled, the last plays right before the 2-minute warning were Drew Brees incomplete to Kobe Fleener. Drew Brees complete to Tommy Lee Lewis down the middle for a 10-yard gain. Mark Ingram rush up the middle for 3 yards. Brees passed to Coleman to the left for 6-yard gain. And then Brees passed to John Kuhn down the middle for 3-yard gain. So he did make a couple little dink and dunk passes.
Right.
But I forgot that how this happened was that Thomas Morstead punted. San Diego committed a penalty on the punt, and then Melvin Gordon rushed immediately and fumbled the ball, and we recovered it. That's right. I forgot about that.
Let me tell you this story real quick. So after the game, the Advocate story is about how Tony Hills inspired them to win the game. And I put that on Twitter and said, well, this would be interesting, but I don't think that it's really how it happened. And I got immediate feedback from Nick Underhill, who is the Saints writer for The Advocate, about saying, well, are you just complaining about the story? And I'm like, no, Nick, look, you wrote that the way he phrased it made it sound like Tony Hills changed the complexion of the game. And I'm like, that would be super interesting if it did. How weird would it be if Tony Hills bent the universe to his will?
Right. A backup. What was his position?
He's a tackle.
A backup tackle, a second string tackle.
Yeah. And so Nick jumps on me. He's like, sure, let's ignore that the defense came out energized and forced 3 stops, and because they were energized by Tony Hills' inspiring talk. And I'm like, we don't really have to ignore that, but we should also consider all manner of mystic influence as well, apparently. And he's like,
you said that?
Yeah.
And that pissed him off. And
that makes him even madder. He's like, if you don't like our coverage, we can go elsewhere.
Oh, jeez.
I'm like, dude, these are jokes. These are the jokes because I'm reading your fucking story.
So somebody in the office fucked with him that day, or he spilled his coffee on himself. He was in his feels about something else, and you were just somebody that he could take it out on, and he could control you by blocking you, so he did, and it made him feel good.
Yeah, but
so you helped somebody, Jeff.
I guess. I mean, he certainly did, but I was sharing his story and making jokes about it, and I just thought that's what they
you
wanted
want as a reporter,
right? You would want people to talk about your work.
You want people to share it, but I don't know. Maybe he just wasn't in the mood to have people making fun of his shit that day.
Well, then don't fucking write.
Right, or
don't
also
work for a fucking paper.
Also, so he blocked me, and I feel bad about it because
fuck him.
No, I feel bad because first of all, he's a good writer. He's one of these people who he is a meticulous film study guy. I think he wants to be a coach in some other life. He breaks down everything really well, and he does a good job of laying it out for you. But I think that also lends itself to being maybe a little bit too much of a guy who identifies with the players and their band, their brothers, and their
locker room talk,
pussy
grabbers.
Exactly. So I think that's what happens. Anyway, to finish this out, the other day he wrote another story about how the Saints offense is going to come alive when Josh Hill returns from injury.
Hill and Hills.
So
These are the guys that are going to save us.
You see where I'm going with this.
Right.
I kind of made fun of that, and everybody goes like, Jeff, he blocked you last time. I'm like, well, before he double blocks me, I'm going to...
Oh, wait, did he just put you in timeout? That little... What's it called? Mute? Did he mute you?
No.
He blocked you and then he unblocked you?
No, but I'm like, I start to talk about it again, and people are getting on my case, and so
okay, but that happens like every day.
Right.
So then we figured out, and this is a long, stupid story about stuff that happened on Twitter, but here's what we figured out. This was a story about Josh Hill following up on a story about Tony Hills, written by Nick Underhill.
Oh, the 3 hills.
And it's all these hills.
This is a story of the hills
and
who cried a river and drowned the whole world.
God damn, you're fucking in the zone with that shit tonight.
Word.
Oh, shit, I almost spilled.
And I even thought that, what is an Underhill anyway? Is it something from the Upside Down? Because
now you're going to drag
reaching.
it back to that.
Then we're right back to Stranger Things.
You're reaching.
Well, that was a good way to spend my last 10 minutes here at that.
All right, there you go.
What else is there to talk about?
That was it.
Do you think we're going to beat Carolina? Is dude back? Cam Newton.
I think Cam's going to play.
Okay, so if he's back, they're going to be revitalized, and they're probably going to just... Is it in Carolina?
It's here.
Oh, okay. Well, I think we're going to get rolled, but who knows?
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean,
they're suffering.
There's no reason to believe that the Saints are picking up momentum from that bullshit thing that maybe
that
happened.
Bye week though,
right?
Maybe not playing is just what they need.
Right. We would like for them to win, but I don't see it.
I'm
you cannot
so sad
lose
about
if you
them
do not play
because it just seems like Peyton and Loomis have just fucked everything up, and it's just sad what happened. We could have had a dynasty and shit. I don't know how, but I think that the bounty gate and the suspension just ruined our franchise.
Well, most people think that what ruined them is their inability to draft and their propensity for trading draft picks away and their problems with the salary cap keeping them from
all that's on
deep
Loomis
roster.
And all that's on Tom Benson's
It's on
wife getting shook at a particularly bad Sunday in the Superdome.
It's all Bronze Tom's fault.
Speaking of which, that lawsuit is back on
because the NFL rejected it.
Because the NFL rejected their deal, and I think it's in February is where the next time the Bensons have to go to court. So keep an eye out for that.
Just in time for Mardi Gras.
That's right.
Court watching parties.
Who owns the Patriots?
Bob Kraft.
Okay, because I'm starting to develop this theory that bad ownership is the worst fucking thing you can have for a team. I know the Redskins have bad ownership.
Yep.
The Chargers have bad ownership. And if you just look at ownership, it's a not as talked about part of why a team would suck. That's my theory.
I feel like
it
does get talked about.
It does get talked about a lot, actually, yeah.
But it seems to everyone seems to blame what's happening on the field when they should be kind of like looking behind the scenes.
No, they do that. I mean, there's a lot of...
Well, no, I'm not looking at fucking not dudes talking in articles, like research. Like, these are teams that have done shitty. Let's look at their ownership and what was going on.
Yeah,
that team was like Cleveland's ownership. Who the fuck are they?
The Browns?
The Niners' ownership, when it was all fucked up, that team sucked.
Yeah. I mean, there are periodic worst owners in sports articles. Like
Oakland's ownership sucks, and they're all fucked up.
Yeah. No, you're definitely onto a thing, is what we're saying.
Thank you. That's all I need to hear. Green Bay been good for many years. Look at their ownership. City owns.
Right, the city owns them. Right. What do we got next?
Consistently a good team.
Do we have?
We don't have anything with me. I gotta go.
Oh, you got to roll?
I'm not gonna be able to talk about those books. I mean, look, I could talk about them real quick, and then I gotta go.
Okay, so you want to talk about the book?
I'm reading 2 New Orleans true crime books. One by that Frenchy Brulette dude.
Oh, I've read that.
Yeah, and it's a hard read.
It's
not
terrible.
well read. It's not well written. It bounces. It needs some editing.
Yeah, it's
but
really
I'm trying
annoying.
to trudge through it right now, and he repeats himself a lot. And like at the beginning of the book, they say not all this shit is true, and I'm like, fuck. But I'm reading it, and then the other one I'm reading is a very well edited book by Ethan Brown, who wrote "Shake the Devil Off," and who we want to get on the show and who maybe will come to the show and is currently being sued by a Senate candidate.
Right. So,
and it's very good.
Murder in the Bayou is the title of this
Well
book.
written, well edited.
It's about the
good read, short read.
Jefferson Davis Parish Police Department for the most part, right?
Right. And I have a bit of a personal attachment to it because I got pulled over by those guys, and they mention over and over again in the book that they pull dudes like me over. And I'm like, yeah, they do, and they still do that shit.
Yeah, so the way they set this up is the whole parish is this, like they're watching the I-10 corridor for drug traffic coming from Houston towards New Orleans. Mm-hmm. And the whole police department there is just this corrupt situation where they pull people over, they confiscate drugs, and then they put them on the street to sell them. That's the whole background, right?
Yes, basically.
Yeah.
And these dudes are still working.
A lot of them are.
Great. And one of them had a sex tape with a dog.
Yeah, so there's a lot.
I'm going to mention that every time.
There's a lot of.
They were doing some crazy shit up there.
There's a lot of salacious
fucking
stuff
dogs,
in the book,
for Christ's sake.
Where Brown goes to and he talks to a lot of these people because he's investigating these murders. And there's 8 prostitutes that are murdered over like a 7 or 8 year period.
All unsolved.
Right. And they're all unsolved specifically because in his theory is that they may know a little too much about some of the things that the police do to cover up their...
Hubert was fucking at the Boudreaux Inn.
Right.
And it all takes place around a place called the Boudreaux Inn, which is so fucking Cajun. You couldn't write that
It's so
shit.
on the nose, you almost think it's fake.
The Boudreaux Inn.
It seems fake, except it's real.
That's the meat of the book. I'm about 3/4 of the way through it, but I know
I haven't read it yet. But let's do Hunker Bookcast next time, and we'll. So Tim and Em, if you want to be up on the up and up, read along with us, and we'll send you a Hunker Downcast book club sticker. and you can put it on your copy of Murder in the Bayou by Ethan Brown.
And we'd love to have Ethan on the show. I think we approached him about it, or we talked to him about it on Twitter, and he sounded like
he was Rising Tide once. He's friends with us.
So if we could arrange that would be great. Anyway, it's highly recommended. It's also notable because, as you mentioned, Charles Bustani is suing the publisher over the insinuation that he was a client of some of the prostitutes involved in this stuff. So,
and that the one member of the Hunger Downcast has actually had dealings with these crooked sheriffs.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, it is true. Right. You and Jeremy got pulled over on your way back from.
It matched the total MO of what they were doing in the book.
It's scary as fuck.
With the
man.
exception of not having any drugs on us.
Thank God.
Yeah, that was smart.
I don't think we did, anyways. All right.
So what else you got?
That's it. I gotta go.
Okay.
Well, y'all can continue but I gotta go.
Okay. Well, Lance has got to go.
All right.
Because
bye.
we held him too late tonight. He's got a thing.
Bye.
All right. Peace out. Okay. So there goes Lance, and Alli is now stretched out on the futon.
I'm very sleepy.
And I think she's just going to nap for the rest of this episode. You're very sleepy.
No, I'm going to sit back up.
Okay. Do you have a so-so for us this week?
I do. I participated in a pirate pub crawl on Saturday.
Oh, what?
A pirate pub crawl.
Oh, God. How does this work?
It's the second annual Hooked on Mid-City pirate pub crawl to benefit Mid-City Business Organization.
Oh, wow. I'm so glad Lance isn't here to hear about
Me
this.
Me too. Because I had a really good time. It was like, it was a smaller crowd than last year. It was like 25 or so people. But we started at Trejo, and then we went to 12 Mile, and then Finn's, and then D-Max, and then Three Palms on Tulane.
And you were dressed as pirates or something?
We were dressed as pirates.
Oh, my God.
The funniest part was there was this one lady who I thought her costume was amazing. And we had like a police escort for this whole, because we just like walked in the street and stuff. And I was walking with her, and I was like, your costume is amazing. This is so great. Like, how do you find all this stuff? And she looks at me and she, with like all serious, and she's like, this isn't a costume. This is my garb. And I was like, wow, okay. She's like, I just really live the pirate lifestyle. I was like, oh, okay.
And this was not ironic or anything. This is just really.
She was 100% serious.
Oh my fucking God.
And then she was telling me that, like, usually there are more of them, but she couldn't get the word out to all the other pirate people like herself this year in time for them all to come.
The semaphore wasn't working or something.
I don't know.
They couldn't get the parrots to fly or whatever.
Oh man, I didn't know that people were that into that, but I guess they are.
Yeah,
so.
there's some kind of a pirate conference that happens in New Orleans every year, and I don't remember what it's called, but I am aware of them when they're out in the street. So
okay,
so maybe that's part of that.
I just have an old pirate in a like sexy pirate in a bag costume.
Sexy pirate in a bag
from like undergrad, and I have reused bits of it for years, so I just wore that again. But
sure.
it was a good time. Anyway, yeah, that's what I did.
Well, that sounds like fun.
Not much else other than that. Watched Notre Dame lose to NC State. So, that was my main thing.
Okay.
Did you have something?
I can talk about the fact that we had to go out of town this weekend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we had to go out of town for a destination funeral.
Oh, what?
Yeah. It's what it is. It's a friend of ours had
sounds like
death in the family, and we had to go for that. But it was unusual because it was in Ocean City, Maryland.
Okay.
And we were, if you've ever been there or to a place like it, it's a beach town. And you go, and we were staying there on the beach. But we were there specifically for, funeral and helping with setup for that and dealing with everybody's stuff, but we're in the middle of the action down there. So it was we had a hotel on the beach, and we had we're on the strip where there is a muscle car convention in town. So every day there's like people revving up their old-timey cars and having it's this weird festivity going on all around you when you're really just there for something that isn't really very festive. So it was kind of funny that way. I also
That's a fun exercise in cognitive dissonance.
It was, I guess, especially because a big part of my job was taking care of the kids. Like there's some children involved. And so what I did was I had to take them to all the theme restaurants.
Wait, what?
Well, it's a beach town, right? So there's
like Hard Rock Cafe and stuff?
Well, sort of, but like more local things.
Okay.
But there's a place called Dead Freddy's, for example, which is a pirate restaurant.
Yes.
And so we went and had
like Peg Leg Pete's in Pensacola Beach.
Yes, it's very much like that. So you have like your little novelty drinks with little sharks in them, and there's a big playground for the children to run around and jump on stuff, and everything is a weird pirate themed hamburger or whatever.
Yeah.
So we did that, and there was basically entertaining children in a Disney-fied type beach atmosphere while we were having a funeral. That's basically what we did this weekend. But on the last day, the remnants of Matthew actually made their way up. So we got to participate in the hurricane in a little bit. That was kind of neat for us too.
Always nice to just add another notch in the belt there.
Yeah, we rode one out.
Another one.
Right, sure.
Add the names to your tattoo of hurricanes that you've lived through, right?
Yeah. It was kind of funny. I mean, we didn't think it was coming. We'd stopped watching, and then
I think it was just rain by that point.
No, it was a little bit more. But
really?
I guess when you're on the coast, it is more. It was Saturday night, I guess. It got up there, and we had stopped paying attention to the
Saturday. It would have been like the outer, like the feeder bands.
No, but it got us. it didn't really get us, but it was like we had stopped paying attention to it, and we just.
Oh wait, no, you're right. You're right.
We looked out.
Friday night would have been feeder bands.
We looked out the window, and it's like rain and wind, and we're like, "What the fuck is this even?" And it just turned out it was the hurricane. Oh, okay. And so then we spent the rest of the night looking to see if the water was going to come up off of the beach and get us.
Yeah,
it didn't.
Yeah, it hit my in-laws on Friday night. But their house is okay.
I'm glad they came out okay. I'm sorry. I know that in a lot of cases, Matthew could have been worse than it was. I mean, it stayed off the coast of Florida. It didn't really slam Georgia as bad as it could have. It did hit South Carolina. We were talking about that earlier.
And, of course, it devastated Haiti.
Right.
So speaking of events and stuff, I believe on Sunday night, there's a fundraiser for Haiti at the St. Roch Market. There's a Haitian restaurant in the St. Roch Market run by someone from Haiti, and they're having a benefit there to benefit two long-standing nonprofits that work in Haiti that are run by Haitians.
Okay.
So very, very worthy event. I believe it's if you search on Facebook for the Love Haiti benefit, you'll be able to find info on it. But it's St. Roch Market on Sunday night.
On Sunday, and it's called Love Haiti. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds pretty good. I don't have anything else. I don't even have a recipe this week, but that's because we made gumbo zerbs tonight.
We did.
It was the shouty recipe from last time that we actually cooked and ate tonight, so that's fine, I think. Would you like to read the Jive Wire? I know he left it for you. So.
I will read the Jive Wire.
All right. This is Alli with the Jive Wire.
It's a short one this week. But,
good.
This is your Hunker Downcast Jive Wire, brought to you by Ira Ray. We met in the air, and it's presented at the top of every
It's the
oddest hour. So here we go. Thank you to Tim and M at Paris B, at Brandy B for helping us out with the Jive Wire this week. The Mike Yenny Sextet is at the Huge Ass Beards on Bourbon Street at 10. Big Blue Jay and the Reaganettes are at the Age of Consent Bar for an all-ages show at 9. Shufflin' Mike is at the Tiger Rest Stop at 8. The Dim Cowboys play the Gone by 11 Saloon at 8. The Pussy Grabbers are marching in the Convention and Visitors Bureau Repetitive Bullshit Second Line presented by Shell at 7. And the Stanford Disappointment plays open mic night at the Zune Cafe at 6.
Is that all of them?
That's it.
Oh, okay, great.
This has been your Hunker Downcast Jive Wire.
Now get out there.
Now get out there, support, and enjoy some live local music.
Okay. Thank you for that. I think that's pretty much everything we've got this week. I just wanted to say, I guess, there's some stuff that's coming up to look forward to in the next couple weeks is the short-term rentals are back on the city council schedule on October 20th. Also, the city budget hearings are going to get started pretty soon, so that'll be fun to look forward to. And, of course, the election season is coming, and I hope we get a chance to talk about that again before, when we record next time. And, I'd like to thank everybody for sticking with us for this year. It's been a lot of fun.
A whole year.
Yeah, we've done a really good job, I think.
And Varg left like Mac Brown in the middle of this
Right.
of this episode, but I know he's also thankful as well.
Yeah. So thanks to Tim and them. Thanks to Varg, who's not here tonight anymore.
Who's not long for this world? Is that what you're gonna say?
That's basically.
Stop predicting bad things.
Shit.
Jesus.
And thanks to all the beer we've had, and we will.
Good night, everybody.
Try and catch you next time.